fellow artists. So this week we are going to learn and create our own Notan art. Notan art comes from Japan, and that is why I'm wearing my traditional Japanese kimono. Kimonos are worn by Japanese and Chinese people when they are either doing everyday things or for special occasions if they have like a fancier one. So Notan art, like I said, is from Japan. It is an artwork that has interaction between positive and negative space, or light and dark space. Okay, the theory behind Notan art is that the positive and the negative areas should complement each other or coexist. They should almost mirror each other, okay? So an example of that is the Chinese yin yang sign. So see how, which I drew this, it's not perfect, but you see how the white and the black side, it's like they are flipped and they have the same dot as well, but they are just opposite in color. So that is an example. We are going to learn about two different types of shapes. We're going to use the element of art, shape, okay? There are two different types of shape. There is geometric shapes, which are usually man-made, and they have harsh edges or lines. They're usually like our squares and our triangles. But we don't need to go too deep in those because we're going to use organic shapes. Organic shapes usually have fun like curves. They don't have any harsh points or lines. They are flowy. They come from nature, okay? So like say a leaf or like a coral, like something that is nice and flowy. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples once we get started, but you will need a white piece of paper and a black piece of paper, scissors, and some type of adhesive, so glue or tape. I'm going to use tape, and that's all that you need, okay? If you don't have black and white pieces of paper, you can use a white piece of paper and then something else like a magazine cover or something else that you find. Just make sure that they are two different colors of paper. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to talk about shapes really quick before we start with our project. So we're going to use element of art, shape. There are two types of shapes. First is geometric. This is not what we're going to try to use in this project, but they are like triangles, are squares, are rectangles, and circles. They are usually man-made and they have clear sides, like this triangle here. We're going to focus on organic shapes for this project. Okay, so these shapes are usually found in nature. They have flowy sides. These I have drawn just really quickly. They are nice and fun and just easy to do. You don't have to really focus too hard. You can kind of just start at one end and just see where it goes. So now that we've discussed our shapes, what you're going to need is your white piece of paper. This is going to be pretty much your background. I'm going to write my name. Even though we're not in class, it's always a good idea. Then I'm going to flip it over so my name is on the back. Then you're going to need either a black or a different colored piece of paper. It doesn't have to be black. It's just in Notan art, they did use the meaning of black and white coexistence. So what you're going to do is you're going to center your black squared piece of paper. It needs to be smaller than your background piece of paper. Mine's not a perfect square, but it's probably about like 5 inches by 5 inches. And then you are going to put it down on your background and square off the corners. I'm doing mine dark so then y'all can see it for the video, but you don't need to do it that dark as long as you can see it. So now that you have that drawn, you know where it's going to go once you start gluing or taping. Now this part can get a little tricky, so just listen and follow along with what I'm doing. You are going to create an organic shape from each side of the square. But you need to make sure that if you start on this side, you need it to end on this side. It doesn't need to go to this side of your square. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. I'm going to do an organic shape. I'm just going to add some flowiness, and then it's going to go off the page on the same side, okay? So if y'all can see that, I can see it a little better than y'all can. And then I'm going to keep going. So do a shape on each side. I'm going to go off like that, okay? You can make it really intense or just really simple shapes. So now that I have created a shape on each side that starts on one side and it ends on the same side, you are going to take your paper and you are going to cut out each shape, okay? So what you can do is take your scissors and follow along your shape as best as you can. The best way to do it is by moving your paper. Try to keep your scissors in the same spot and your wrist still, but move your paper. So that is from this side. So you can see where it fits in, okay? And what you're gonna do is make sure that it lines up There we go. I had it upside down. You're going to make sure it lines up and then you're going to flip it out. So see how that mirrors each other? It's the same shape. It's just backwards. And this is the positive. That is the negative space. You're going to keep going and cut out all of your shapes. If you're afraid of getting too confused, just keep your shapes really simple. I'm going to go ahead and do that as my placeholder. This one looks really simple, but it's actually going to look like a heart once it is cut out. And I have one last one. Take your time when you are cutting. It's not a race. And then you're going to line it back up with your square. Once it is on there, I'm going to go ahead and tape down my square, which is not really a square anymore, but just so then it stays in its spot. Perfect. All right, now as you see, like I said, this one looks like a heart. So you're gonna go around and line up your shapes with the cutout as best as you can, and you are gonna glue or tape them down. Glue works better. I just misplaced my glue somewhere. I'm going to pause it for a second and I'm going to glue everything down and show you guys the final project. I wanted to make sure that everybody understands how to glue and flip these pieces. So I have taped down each of these pieces, but what you're going to do is from where you cut, remember we started on this side and we also ended on the same side. You're going to leave it where it is. All you're going to do is pick it up from the inside part and flip it outwards. You don't have to, turn it upside down. All you have to do is flip out and then line up the corners. Okay, so this is my Notan art. You can always come in with a colored Sharpie or a regular Sharpie, black, and just add different patterns to add some complexity to it. You can create some type of colored pattern background, whatever you want. I'm gonna leave mine like this. But now it is your turn. Make sure that you have 2 different colored pieces of paper, a pencil, scissors, and some type of adhesive. We will discuss this during our this week Zoom meeting. So if you want to have yours to show, have it on hand. If not, I will play this video and you will be able to do it step by step with me. If you started to get a little lost, you can always pause the video and catch up. All right, I will see you guys later. Have a great week.